Dictionary.com defines a time capsule as a container storing a selection of objects chosen as being typical of the present time, buried for discovery in the future. Now, that is a very apt definition of a time capsule, but I like to think of it as being a sort of medium through which people can actually travel backwards in time. Because when someone buries a time capsule, they're essentially infusing it with items which are representative of the cultural zeitgeist of that period, such that when the time capsule is unearthed by future generations, these individuals can experience what life was like for past generations which had actually buried this time capsule, which I find rather remarkable. Hi, my name is Tyler Silva, and in this speech I will be discussing two items which I will be putting into my sort of metaphorical time capsule, one of which is sort of more personal for me, while the other has sort of more international ramifications. Now, having said that, I think it would be appropriate to begin discussing the first item, which is a clay pot, as you can see here. Now, I know what you're thinking, that might not be too remarkable, but in actuality, this pot is estimated to be approximately 2,000 years old, and it also contains a wide variety of ancient coins, as you may be able to see here. Now, I actually received this pot while visiting some relatives in Sri Lanka in January of this year, specifically while I was visiting one relative who is an archaeologist, and earlier this year he actually discovered this clay pot and the coins within it, as well as a great deal of other similar pots, along with a great deal of other coins. And he was very kind and actually gave this to me, I suppose because I have an affinity for collecting antiques and artifacts. But nonetheless, I was discussing it with him, and what I found particularly interesting is that he explained that not only does it contain ancient Sri Lankan coins like this plaque, as you can see here, but also it contains, if I can find one here, it also contains Roman coins, as you may not be able to see here, but I assure you it is a Roman coin, which I found to be extraordinary because even though I have a great deal of affinity for history, I never knew that the Roman Empire and ancient Sri Lankan kingdoms actually traded together during the classical era, which really amazed me. And I'm really hoping that in the future, more items like this can be discovered such that the connection between the Roman Empire and ancient Sri Lankan kingdoms can be further examined and studied. Now, I believe it would be appropriate to move on to my second item, which is an article published by CNBC, which says, "It's Joe, how newspapers around the world reported President-elect Biden's victory," as you can see here. Now, this article actually goes on to show a great deal of newspaper headlines from countries such as Tunisia, Japan, Great Britain, China, and a wide variety of other countries, and the sort of ebullient nature of these articles in regards to Joe Biden's victory over Donald Trump in the 2020 general election. And this was obviously a very important election, but something I find rather remarkable about it is, and keeping with the theme of the time capsule here, it's interesting that Joe Biden, similar to Warren G. Harding in the 1920 general election, which occurred 100 years ago, like Harding, promised a return to normalcy, but this return to normalcy, rather than being from World War I, would be from Donald Trump's sort of era of paleoconservatism, which I found particularly interesting. So in conclusion, I hope that I've been able to sort of expound upon these items appropriately, and I can't wait to watch this video in 50 years to essentially see how the world has changed since I made this video. So thank you for listening to my speech.